Star Wars is definitely on a roll these days, considering the number of shows that are being churned out. Now, another one called The Acolyte has officially started filming in the UK. What we're dying to know is the cast that's going to bring this show to life. Here's more about The Acolyte, confirming the cast as production begins. Let's also look at every upcoming Star Wars series and all that you need to know. To start with, the casting for Star Wars The Acolyte. On November 7th, Disney finally announced its main cast for the show, and it seems like they've definitely tried getting the most talented people to come together. We already knew that Amandla Stenberg would play the main role, and with them, another popular actor, Lee Jung-jae, will also be joining. For those of you who love Squid Game, this is some really exciting news, and we're dying to see what role he's going to be taking over in this show. Apparently, this is his first major studio role since the Korean show became a worldwide hit. Apart from these two, Carrie-Anne Moss from The Matrix, Dean Charles Chapman from 1917, and Manny Jacinto from The Good Place are part of the cast too. Along with them, Daphne Keane from His Dark Materials and Jodie Turner-Smith from Queen and Slim are also going to be a part of this show. Coming up, the diverse cast receives backlash. If you don't already know, John Boyega left the franchise just before the news about casting people from different backgrounds came. He talked about how he didn't feel supported by Disney when he started getting racist comments about his casting. It's not just him though. Other Star Wars stars have also been getting racist comments like this for a really long time. Remember when Moses Ingram got a lot of mean comments, so her co-star Ewan McGregor had to take some sort of action? Another actor that has been getting a lot of hate is Amandla Stenberg. They're currently in talks to play the lead role in The Acolyte. When the show was announced in 2020, many fans didn't like that it was called female-led, probably because Rey, a female character, was the main character in the last 3 Star Wars movies. Now that Stenberg has been cast, the conversation has started up again, but in a different way, because they use they/them pronouns. In 2016, Stenberg wrote on Tumblr that the pronouns that they're more comfortable with using are they and them pronouns. But apparently, this just doesn't sit right with some Star Wars fans. Star Wars hasn't done a great job with transgender issues in the past either. Gina Carano's comments about the trans community got her fired from The Mandalorian. Even if Stenberg is cast in a role that's probably for a woman, it could show that the series is trying to be inclusive. Lastly, will casting Amandla Stenberg be bad for the show? To be honest, Stenberg would be a massive catch for Star Wars. They would not only be the first non-binary actor to lead a Star Wars project, but they would also be the second black main character in a Star Wars series, after Rosario Dawson's Ahsoka. Apart from this, they also have a lot of acting experience for their age, which is helpful in a show where the main character is so young. But Stenberg is already getting a lot of negative attention. They aren't usually referred to with they/them pronouns. And on top of this, YouTuber John Campea said in a statement that he wouldn't cover the casting news because he was afraid of misgendering Stenberg and getting backlash from fans. Many fans were upset by what Campea said, of course. His choice was clear discrimination against transgender people. If Stenberg were cisgender, he wouldn't have made this choice. This is, without a doubt, just one way that Stenberg's identity will be used against them if they are cast in The Acolyte. With Amandla, The Acolyte can show Star Wars fans that non-binary people are real and not just something to talk about and argue about on Twitter. What these people don't realize is that there are non-binary people everywhere. There are non-binary workers, actors, and most importantly, Star Wars fans. Even if the series is still led by women, it could show the way for people who don't identify as either female or male. And now for all that you need to know about every upcoming Star Wars series. First up, Andor Season 2. This Tony Gilroy series, starring Diego Luna as a rebel spy Cassian Andor, has already begun filming for a second season. The series' first season has been a massive success, both critically and for the fans. After all, it's the first time we've gotten a ground-level look at the rebellion. Oh, and don't even get us started about Stellan Skarsgård and Andy Serkis. both of whom have been stellar so far. So we can't wait to see where Cassian goes on his next adventure before Rogue One. Up next, Ahsoka. Rosario Dawson played the first live-action Togruta X Jedi on The Mandalorian, and she did such a good job that she now has her own show. Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau will both be executive producers. There are also roles for Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Ivana Sakno, Iman Esfandi, and Natasha Liu Bordizzo. In an Obi-Wan crossover, Hayden Christensen will play Anakin Skywalker again, and Ray Stevenson will play a mysterious bad admiral. Ahsoka is best known for her roles in the animated series Star Wars: The Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels, where Ashley Eckstein did the voiceover. What's more, we have The Mandalorian. We know you're dying to know if Baby Yoda will return in Season 3 of The Mandalorian, and the answer is yes. After the unexpected scene at the end of the Book of Boba Fett, we're ready to see Pedro Pascal back in action as our favorite bounty hunter. Early reviews from critics in the US have been overwhelmingly positive, so it looks like The Mandalorian will be as great as you'd hope. Most people agree that die-hard fans of the show will love it, but the high production value and new ideas could help it reach an even wider audience. Following up, The Acolyte. We've already talked about the cast, but here's more on the storyline. We only know that this is the first Star Wars project for the big screen to take place in the time of the High Republic in a galaxy far, far away. The High Republic takes place a few hundred years before the Skywalker Saga. It's a time of relative peace and prosperity in the galaxy, but evil is growing in the shadows, which will eventually lead to the end of the Jedi Order we know. Let's look at Rangers of the New Republic. The new show will follow a group of X-Wing pilots during the same period as The Mandalorian. This show is probably going to connect other Disney Plus shows like Ahsoka and the whole Star Wars TV universe, leading up to an epic crossover event. At the time of The Mandalorian, the New Republic is still pretty new, and even 5 years after Return of the Jedi, it's clear that the Empire is still around. We know that the First Order will grow out of the ruins of the Empire. In these early days, though, the Empire is hiding from the New Republic and moving slowly. Next up, Lando. In Solo, a Star Wars story, Donald Glover played a younger version of Lando Calrissian, who was originally played by Billy D. Williams. It's not clear yet if he'll play the role again in the Disney Plus series, though. Fun fact: Star Wars Lando will be made by Justin Simien, the same person who wrote Dear White People. So far, the most interesting thing about Lando is that we don't know very much about it. When Disney announced the series, all they said was that Lando Calrissian will return in Lando. So we don't know if the show will follow an older version of the character, with Billy D. Williams reprising his role after The Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, and The Rise of Skywalker. Let's also look at a droid story. What we know is that Lucasfilm Animation will work with the visual effects experts at Industrial Light and Magic to make Star Wars: A Droid Story. Together, they'll make the animated title come to life, but it's not clear if the project will be a series or a movie. IMDb calls it a TV show, but the official Star Wars Twitter account called it a film. Whatever it is, the animated Star Wars: A Droid Story will bring back R2-D2, the astromech droid, and C-3PO, the protocol master, but this time they are the stars, leading new characters in a galaxy far, far away. Finally, Skeleton Crew. John Watts' first Star Wars series is going to be directed by Jude Law. This super famous director is making and running a show about the fall of the Empire, as seen through the eyes of 4 11 to 12-year-old kids. How cool is that? The show, which used to be called Grammar Rodeo, is described as a galactic version of classic Amblin coming-of-age adventure films of the 80s. Law's role has not been revealed yet though, but what's for sure is that Chris Ford, who wrote Spider-Man: Homecoming, also wrote the script for this show, so our hopes are definitely up. On that note, that's a wrap for this video. What do you think about the Acolyte's cast? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.